Hi everyone, my name is Emily, also known as Ethereal Chasing. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is about the ego and how it holds us back. Human nature is a delicate duality of eternity and limitation. As a human, we are born, and through life experience, a concept of self is constructed. A concept of who we believe ourselves to be. This concept, I like to call it personal concept, is subject to influence, trauma, and sensation. The degree to which we identify with this personal concept is our karmic nature. Ego death, which is essentially our awareness and conscious elimination of this self-concept, is a continuous process for few of us, and it's a sporadic anomaly for most, and a very uncomfortable experience for many people. Inner awareness of the ego causes immediate feedback. Stormy. Inner awareness of the ego causes immediate feedback in mental and physical capacities. As I was thinking about what I wanted to say in this video, I heard or felt a few questions come up that I wrote answers for, and I want to read exactly what I wrote because these to me are forms of channeled information, channeled wisdom that I want to share with you exactly as I received it. I am actually going to read off what I wrote while I trim my hair. So, the first question is, how can I identify my ego? How can I identify my ego? Think of who you believe yourself to be. You may understand yourself to be certain and definite, as many of us do, saying things like, this is the body, this is the personality, these are the neuroses. These are thought patterns that do not come from self. This is rather the personal concept doing what it does best, repeating and maintaining. This is my name, this is my career, these are my things, are other examples. This is the survival of the ego. So essentially, identifying the ego is quite simple. When you are conscious of your thoughts, as often as you can be, you see the way that the ego operates. It's very definite and limited. It's very easy to recognize this personal concept when you're conscious of it. The second question is, how can I meet the self? As I mentioned earlier, when I said that these thoughts that we have are not the self. They don't come from the self. And what I wrote for this is, understand that the self does not have a name or body. It is formless and timeless. If you believe in God, you may believe the self to be one with the eternal force that creates, maintains, and eventually destroys. If you believe in science rather than religion, believe the self to be infinite consciousness. If you believe in nothing, consider the self to be pure energy, which cannot be destroyed nor created. I'm sure all of you have heard that before. It simply is. This is the self. My cat is having water, in case you are wondering what that noise is. The next question is, if I identify with this self, what do I become? So, when you begin to identify with the eternal consciousness, the greater force, however you want to phrase it, what do you become? What happens to this personal concept that we've been discussing? Identification with self does not eliminate your personal concept. When you consciously act and think from the self, the attachment to the personal concept becomes less important. However, it cannot disappear. The personal concept is what keeps your soul, or eternal energy, in the physical body. This phenomenon is human consciousness. As long as you are breathing, you will always have a name, a body, and preference. When you identify with self, the personal concept cannot express in ways that are misaligned. When you identify with self, the personal concept cannot express in ways that are misaligned. When you identify with self, the personal concept cannot express in ways that are misaligned. Okay, we're going to make the first cut. This is all straight hair that was damaged and is prohibiting my hair from flourishing, so we're cutting it all off. Okay, next question. What do you mean by misaligned? What is my personal concept aligned to? Because I mentioned misaligned because I said when you identify with self, the personal concept cannot express in ways that are misaligned. So what do you mean by misaligned? What is my personal concept aligned to? What do you mean by misaligned? What is my personal concept aligned to? Imagine an archery field. Self is the archer holding the bow, steadying the arrow, scanning the field. Your personal concept is a wild animal running around the field. They are worried the self is aiming for them. Naturally, the arrow is imminent death. The truth is, the self has no interest other than to release the arrow. The self focuses on the tip of the arrow. The wild animal is committed to distract self through its path of fear. When you focus on the target, the arrow is directed by self, and the animal is unharmed. If you have any questions about this analogy, please let me know. I feel that it makes complete sense to me. However, I know we all are on different paths and different stages, and I would love to hear your concepts with that analogy and what it brought up for you. As I was reading it, I'm again reminded about how the reason why this wild animal or the ego or the personal concept, however you want to see it, is running around in fear is because it is afraid of no longer existing. That's how a lot of our personal concepts are formed, are out of fear. And that is why this personal concept is committed to distracting the self by keeping its focus on what it's afraid of. When you focus on the target, the arrow is directed by self, and the animal is unharmed. Misalignment occurs when we allow the distractions of personal connection. Misalignment occurs when we allow the distractions of personal conception to hinder our focus. The personal concept is aligned to surviving, pushing away inevitable death. Exactly what I just said. Self is aligned to eternal existence and creative production. To be distracted is to be misaligned. I'm just sitting with that for a second. I really want to trim this section of my hair, and then I'm going to read a poem that I wrote. And then I'm going to pull some cards. If you made it this far, you deserve to have some wisdom to carry out with you from the cards, which to me are tangible messages from divine, from this self that we have been discussing. Definitely need to trim a little bit more, but I think this is good for now. I'm sure you guys will let me know. I'm just going to put it up or I guess put it down, braid it really quick, and then I'll read you a poem from my journal. As I was looking through my journal, I actually found 2 poems that I want to share with you all today. The first one is, Thought it felt familiar, the gentle stares of love, for it is I, seeing myself, the cosmic paradox, an eternal hug. The second one is, rain falls, collects itself into the stream. It flows so gently, sings incessantly, reflecting this life is just a dream. First going to pull from my Promises from God deck. And I know it says for women, but it applies to everybody, okay? Let's see what message the self, the eternal concept, wants to say to us right now. It's a quote by St. Augustine. Trust the past to God's mercy, the present to God's love, and the future to God's providence. The Lord your God is with you. He is mighty to save. He will take great delight in you. He will quiet you with his love. He will rejoice over you with singing. It's so beautiful. Perhaps you're hearing birds sing a lot more often than you used to. And it's not because magically there are birds around you now, but you're able to hear it. I'm going to pull from the Sacred Cycles deck to see what you need to carry out with you for the rest of your day that you're watching this. We have Fox. 35, reduces to 8, the number of cosmic intelligence, the eternal paradox that I mentioned in that poem. I'm going to read what the guidebook has to say about the Fox card. The top line is, I can sense what is in alignment for me. A quietly cunning creature of the forest, Fox knows how to move in silence. They observe and assess their options, never staying too far from the safety of their den. With a keen awareness of the possibilities they can pursue, Fox sets their sights on a particular hunt and tracks it with calm certainty and concentration. You are being reminded of ways you can explore an interest by beginning with curiosity. Instead of blasting out of the gates, this is an invitation to start an endeavor with a slow and steady approach. With this mindset, you'll be gifted the chance to truly take notice of whether this new quest is in alignment. If you come to find that it's not the right direction for you, you will be primed. My apologies. If you come to find that it's not the right direction for you, you will be primed to shift course with ease. And the journal prompt is, what opportunities do I have in front of me to choose from? Which ones feel most in alignment? Thank you all so much for joining me today. Thank you for your likes, your comments, your subscribes. I really appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your time, and I'll see you in the next one.